It's time we give back. Sow a seed and show someone where love's at. Even if you don't give a dime, give your heart and share your time. Help somebody else in life. Give back. Let's give back. Don't forget.
Welcome to this segment of Ignite, Empower, Transform, where we showcase urban superheroes. My name is Hosea James Givan II, and I am just thrilled. I'm just thrilled to have my lifelong friend and neighbor, Lorna Rainey. Thank you, sister.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me to come on today.
Absolutely.
It's my honor and my pleasure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Lorna actually I grew up literally across the street from Lorna.
That's really true. Our houses were face to face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In Hollis, New York, as
Exactly.
a matter of fact. Yeah.
I have pictures of me as a child with your house in the background, and I'm going to see if I can get this into the shot.
Final edit. Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's talk about there's a range of different things that you're involved with that I want to
Right.
discuss in this program.
Okay.
And the first thing I'd like to talk about is your first business that I was aware of, which was Talent Express.
Yeah. Talent Express started for me in 1991, which it seems an eternity to me as well. I can't believe I've been doing it that long, but I believe that anything that you're passionate about, as long as that passion remains, you continue to do that.
Right.
It's also a great way for me to give back because I come across so many people who would love to get involved in show business, but they don't know how. Some of them have been taken advantage of by the picture sellers. We all know about those guys.
Share with some of your clients and some of the projects that you've done.
If you watch television,
I do watch television.
some of my clients have been in those. If you go to any shows, some of my clients are in theatrical productions. I have a girl now touring with Book of Mormon. She's on the national tour.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just had a girl come back from a Carnival cruise line. She was on for a year. I've had people on Orange is the New Black as recurring characters. I've had people on Blue Bloods, Shades of Blue, Law and Order, Gotham recurring character. Had people in Black Panther. So, you name it, we've kind of been in the mix on these things.
So that's why you ride in that Cadillac.
Listen, I told them last week they have to come on now and get me some more because I want to upgrade a little bit more,
That's
get the
incredible.
newest one. But I really stay in the business because I really love what I do. I love discovering undiscovered talent, and I'm always so amazed at the talent that I see in showcases that have no representation, and I'm falling over my own feet to get to them before somebody else discovers them. And I've been really blessed and really lucky to have found some really great people.
But as an entrepreneur and as a black female, I know you've encountered some challenges.
Lots of them.
Okay.
Yeah, lots
You want
of
to talk
them.
about some of the challenges you may have incurred?
Well, let's talk about how I started Talent Express,
do it.
which is a story in and of itself.
Okay.
I was working at a company that was in Long Island, not far out in Long Island, like close to Queens. And this company specialized in selling pictures, basically portfolios to unsuspecting people. I was their booking director. They hired me to give them legitimacy, which I was doing because at that point I was starting to actually book people that they had taken advantage of. Because you could roll in a wheelchair and they would say, "You should have been here yesterday. We had just the role for you, but now that you're here today, you don't want to miss the next opportunity, so you need to give us $5,000 for this portfolio. We'll take pictures of you in every situation. You have a sweatshirt on, you have a basketball in your lap. Oh, we'll hook you up." So all of these different people would come into the office. There were some heartbreaking stories. There was a young girl who was probably maybe 13, 14. And of course, that's at the age where you're the most vulnerable and the most you see things on TV and you think, I could do that, I could be there.
Sure.
So I guess influenced is the word I'm looking for.
Okay.
So this girl brought her grandparents in. They broke their 401k
Wow.
to buy this girl a portfolio. They ordered every kind of picture imaginable. They ordered like 500 of this, 250 of that. And the pictures came in, And they stuffed them in the closet in my office. They never used the one.
Wow.
But then they'd call her up, like in a month's time. Listen, we're almost all out of those pictures. We've been sending them out like crazy. You need to re-up. You need to reorder. Of course, the grandparents did. The Attorney General was hot on his trail.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And like I said, I was the only thing giving them legitimacy. So one day, the owner came into my office and he said, listen, you look like Steven Seagal. No knock on Steven, because it's not about him. But he came into my office and he said, listen, there's this young lady that I really want you to send her out on the next thing that comes in. So he looks at my desk and he sees the different jobs that are open. He goes, oh, she would be perfect for this. I said, well, let me see her picture. Let me see her stats. This girl was like 5'2", 100 and maybe 30 pounds, dark hair. The job clearly said 5'8" and up,
Wow.
size 0 to 2, blonde hair. I said, I can't send her on this. He said, you'll send her. I said, I won't. He said, no, you will. I said, no, I won't. So we had this back and forth thing, and I wouldn't send her. And his thing was, he was trying to be like a gigolo, you know.
Right.
If you go out with me, I can get this for you because I own a modeling agency.
Right.
So I didn't. So like the next day, he called me into his office and he said, you know what? I'm going to change your job description. You're going to start selling pictures. You're going to start selling portfolios. I said, no, that's not what you hired me for. I don't want to change my job description. I'm the booking director, and that's what I do. He said, well, either you sell pictures or I'm going to fire you. I said, I'll do you one better. I quit. So I took some pictures of people that I thought had potential out of the closet, buried, you know, here and there. Stopped at Staples on my way home with my last $50. Bought my supplies, went home, started my company, never looked back.
Wow.
So that's how Talent Express
That's a
started.
tremendous story.
Yeah, I think so.
That's excellent. So we're going to take this opportunity to just come right back with more from Lorna Rainey.
Lift every voice and sing.
Bronze Flag History Makers! Dr. Vincent Harding graduated from Morris High School as class valedictorian. He received his doctorate from the University of Chicago. He was a civil rights leader and worked closely with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And he was a pioneer in the Black Studies movement.
Let us march on. Lift every voice and sing.
This is the historic Little Rock Central High, where in 1957, the Little Rock Nine integrated the school. In August 2005, a monument was dedicated to those 9 brave black students next to the Capitol in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Let us march on.
Welcome back to this segment of Ignite, Empower, Transform, where we showcase urban superheroes. And we have one of my favorite superheroes, all-time, long-time friend, Lorna Rainey.
Thank you, sir.
So,
Appreciate being here.
glad you're here. So we want to finish talking about Talent Express, close out with that, and then we'll go into a couple other businesses that you started, because you're quite an entrepreneur.
I know.
You're quite an entrepreneur.
What can I tell you? Yeah, well, Talent Express is my pride and joy, because when I started this company in 1991, I was probably the only minority female talent agent I know for sure in Brooklyn, Queens, and Long Island.
Wow.
I can't speak about Manhattan because there was one other, Hillary Beckford. She was the only other person that was doing what I was doing. And my strategy, I thought, was really pretty smart, because what I wanted to do was amass enough talent so that when I then approached clients, no matter what they asked me for, I would have. And I tried to stay in my lane. I didn't branch out into radio and TV and film. I knew that I could get a toehold with commercials. So that's what I concentrated on. I concentrated on amassing enough commercial talent that when I approached the clients, I would have what they were looking for.
Okay.
And that's what worked.
Okay.
And then after that, then I branched out and I said, okay. And I only stayed.
Now you did commercials too, though, didn't
I
you?
did,
Yes.
yeah. I did a lot of TV commercials.
Right.
My specialty, though, was voiceover. I used to do a lot of
Your
voiceovers.
voice is amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just did a Palmer's not too long ago. It was a national campaign for
Wow.
Palmer's, and I had a great time on that
That's
one.
fantastic.
So I come from the background, so I understand already the things that actors and models and voiceover announcers go through. I understand the day-to-day challenges. I understand what they need to make it. I also understand what people don't tell them and just kind of throw them out there and expect them to book something. That's not possible.
Right.
You have to give them the tools along the way if you want them to be successful.
Right.
I think one of the things that is the trickiest is finding the right talent. Because people come to you all the time, I got talent, I can do, and then you really kind of get into them. I'm now a manager. Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. But when you really get into these people, you have to really see what they do have to offer. What are they really bringing to the table? Are they as prepared as they need to be? Or do you need to do additional prep work with them in order to bring them to the level where they're going to be successful?
So what are your techniques, or what are your strategies in terms of, it's an incredible network, and New York City is incredibly competitive,
Yes,
right?
yes.
For entertainment.
So much so.
So how did you go about identifying talent and then getting them to trust you? Because it's a lot of trust. There's a lot of
trust issue for
part
sure.
of what you're dealing with, the children, right? So
I don't do a lot of kids.
Okay.
We are now trying to build up our children's department. The company is continuously growing. When it started, it was just me, and I was an agent. And then in 2012, due to the urging of so many of my own talent, I applied and was certified as a personal manager. So I'm a personal talent manager at this point.
okay.
But the thing about the children is you're not only dealing with the children, you're dealing with the caregivers, be they the parents,
Right.
the school, the time, he's got a soccer practice after, or she can't do it today because she's got chorus practice, or, you run into a lot of other difficulties. However, as our company has grown, I've decided now to reactivate and rebuild the children's department. I had one a long time ago, but I closed it down because I just couldn't deal with, all of that scheduling issues. So,
But and based on some of the recent news media and some of our what I'll call iconic heroes, entertainers, and something came up recently about children and being in a safe environment.
yes.
And that's been always
Yes.
my concern, because we have our daughter involved with different things.
Right. And I've seen it. She's fantastic. I've been thinking about her, reaching out, going, come on, bring her on.
Well, but that's
But
my
you would
concern.
trust her with me.
I trust her with
Right,
you.
right.
But it's the magnitude and the wickedness that I've seen of the entertainment business, and that's been my reservation. You, I trust, because again, I've known you all my life.
Right,
Your
right.
mother, your father, like I told you, was the first person that I knew to pass on as a child.
Right.
So.
I think in terms of children in the industry, they do have a lot of different safeguards. You have to have your child with a work permit. They can't just be out there working on their own. And that means...
At what age?
You can have them from any age.
So even at the age of 3, you
Oh,
can
yeah.
get a work permit. I didn't know that.
They have to have a work permit. They also have to have a dedicated bank account
Okay.
for them, so that when they make their money, it goes into their account. It doesn't go into the parent's account or some aunt's account or some other person.
See, my daughter would love that.
Oh yeah, she would. It would be her money.
Yeah.
But she wouldn't be able to touch it, of course, unless you
A trust.
countersigned for
Okay.
it, But it's supposed to go to the kids. But I love working with children, and we do now have a dedicated associate manager who is in charge of theater and youth. I have another associate manager who's in charge of our developmental roster, and another associate manager who is our agency liaison. He's the one who will make the connection between talent on our roster who are managed, signed clients, and an agency partner. There are a lot of times when, in spite of our best efforts, we can't get our talent onto the shows or get them into the rooms of the casting directors that we want. So we bring on an agency partner and have them to assist us with that. So then it's a two-pronged attack, getting the casting directors to like bring them in, see them, give them an audition, see what they can do. So our company continues to grow, and we've got people who, right now, 2 people on Broadway. So I'm kind of happy about that.
That's dope.
And as far as voiceovers, I represented the gentleman who voiced Blue Buffalo for 3 years, and the gentleman who voiced Allegra, all those commercials for 3 years. Yeah. So when you hear people and you see people, they might be mine.
Oh, that's
Just never
incredible. And I know you from way back in the
That's
day.
right. You knew me when.
Exactly. Exactly. So just quickly, can you touch on Culinary High TV?
Yes, you've heard about that.
Yes, I have.
Culinary High TV is being produced under my other company, which is Rainey Film and Media. And Culinary High TV is something that I'm really proud of, because even in Talent Express, I try my best to pay it forward and give back. One of the things I'm most proud about is opening doors for additional minorities in the entertainment field. When they used to call me, it was all, you know, send me 5 Caucasian guys for this. And I go, is there a chance I could, you know, can I?
Diversity.
Yeah, can I push in a couple of black guys or Asians or Hispanic? No, no, no. But as it went on and they began to trust the caliber of talent that I would send them, they finally did say, go ahead and send us a black guy, send us an Asian guy, and make the other 4 spots, you know, white guys. Cool. So after a while, I was able to continue to push that envelope and they actually loved the guys and started booking people other than. So it kind of opened their eyes to, don't just look here, also look here. You know,
And
look
that's
at
why it's so important to have people like you and our dear friend Wayne Smallwood to be able to kind of help to kind of usher our people and showcase our people.
Right.
And it's all about relationship, right?
It's all about relationships, and it's also, I'm not asking you to give me anything that you wouldn't give anybody else. Just make it equal.
Right.
That's all I'm asking for.
So on that note, we're going to close out this segment and we'll be right back.
Lift every voice and sing.
Helen Diane Foster represented District 16 in the New York City Council, which comprises of the neighborhoods Morrisania, Highbridge, and Morris Heights. She was the first Black woman in the Bronx to be elected to the City Council. She's also a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority.
Bronx Black History Makers!
Welcome back to this final segment of Ignite, Empower, Transform. I am here with Lorna Rainey. Lorna, you really got some good stuff going on.
Thank you.
You really, really do.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Thank
Now,
you.
I'm very impressed. I'm not kidding. I didn't know all of this.
It's funny
I
for
really,
me
really
because
didn't know all this.
I don't even think about what I do, because it's what I do. I wake up in the morning and this is what I do.
Wow.
You know.
But you put it together well.
Thank you.
And it's obvious that there's some great things ahead. All right.
Thank you.
I'm really excited about this next thing we're going to discuss.
Okay.
And I had an opportunity to see a part of your clip all of your clip on New York One.
Thank you.
And I've been knowing about this project for
A long time,
so
right?
many years.
Yeah.
First heard about it through your mom.
Right.
And you want to talk about your great-grandfather,
Right.
Congressman Rainey.
Well, thank you. Yeah, under Rainey Film and Media, along with Dean Love Productions, we are, you know, in pre-production stages now of a documentary about his life. He was seated on December 12, 1870, the first Black man ever to sit in Congress. And
That is incredible. That's incredible.
I know. Well, here's what you should really think. In
5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation.
Right. But think about the fact that he was born a slave.
Wow.
Think about that. And then years later,
You're right.
he aspires and becomes the first Black congressman.
That's
what
tremendous.
blows my mind.
That's tremendous.
Yeah. I mean, when I look at the things that are available to us today versus what was not at all available to him in those times,
Right.
we have to harness the things that are available to us. We have to harness good people like you and good people like Wayne and, you know, really good people, bring everybody together in order that we continue this forward momentum.
Absolutely.
Because without that, we're going to be stuck back at 0 or -0 if we don't watch
The
out.
power of positive attraction.
It really
and
is.
I really believe that.
Yeah.
I understand how important it is, and I'm so interested because I'm a lover of history,
Okay,
and I can't wait to see the documentary,
thank you.
and I can't wait to hear more about what you're going to share.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to do this really documentary style and do it in a series of reenactments. Because that's the best way to do a documentary, because you can't honestly say what the people said exactly in
Right.
those times because you weren't there to hear it.
Correct.
You know, so you are going to have to just rely on the facts as they are. We're doing a lot of research about him. I have tons of research that I've already done. Plus, there's 2 books that are accompanying the documentary. One is a children's book, which is already written.
That you wrote.
I did. And the first,
You are quite an amazing lady.
well, I've written another published book before this. I don't know if you know about that one.
Now you're shaming me. Now you're shaming me.
Not at all. Not at all. You can't know everything. I forget stuff too. But this is a picture of me sitting on my Aunt Olive's knee. My Aunt Olive was the one that got this whole ball rolling. When I was 3 years old, she would come to visit us from Springfield, Massachusetts, sit me on her lap in Brooklyn at my grandmother's house, and she would tell me the whole story of my great-grandfather's achievements. And she would always end it up by putting her hand on my head saying, Lorna, you're going to be the one to tell the story.
Really?
You're going to be the one to make sure his achievements are known. So from the time I was 3 years old, this was charged to me as my mission in life, that this was something that I had to do. And all along the way, I knew that me owning Talent Express was going to be a help to me. That through that company, I was not only helping other people, but I was also going to meet the people
that you
were
needed to be able to tell your story.
Exactly.
That's
That was
amazing.
always known to me. So I never stopped, I never gave up, even though there were times when I got really tired. But every day I woke up with a passion to help people and a passion to push my mission forward.
So what area did Congressman Rainey serve? What was
He
his
was from South Carolina.
Right.
And he also lived in Philadelphia for a while. He went back to Charleston and lived there for a while, but he served that constituency. He also, in addition to being the first congressman, he also was the first black man to occupy the speaker's chair, because one day the Speaker of the House fell ill and he was the most senior member.
So he was like the Tip
So
O'Neill
there he
back in the
was.
day?
Yeah.
Wow.
There he was,
That's
sitting
impressive.
in the speaker's chair.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I think that one of the things about his story that really gets to me is that when he was conscripted, he was a free man, if you understand that. He was a free man. He was working at his father's trade, which was a barber. They were in Mills Hotel, which was a very upscale hotel, doing their barbering trade when the Civil War broke out. And the Confederates, they didn't care who was free or who was whatever. They just came and they rounded up all the able-bodied black men they could find and put them to work at whatever they needed them to work at for the Civil War, for their cause. So unfortunately for my great-grandfather, they put him at first on a Confederate blockade runner. They were trying to get their goods and services, their supplies, through the Union ships that had blocked their harbors. So that was the first thing they put him on. And then they put him to work on the fortifications around Charleston, which was back-breaking work.
Right.
He's stacking bricks, he's doing sandbagging, all this stuff.
Hard labor.
But he had some abolitionist friends, and he got his story out to them. And they said, don't worry, we'll help you out. So they were actually able to get him out of Charleston, get him down to Bermuda. And then he said, but wait, I have a wife. What about my wife, Susan? Don't worry, we'll get her too.
Wow.
So he got down to Bermuda. He opened up his barbering shop in a house that's still there. It's called the Tucker House. And then he would, every time there was a ship coming in, he would run down to the dock to see, well, is this the day, or did they desert me? Were they lying to me? And one day, there she came walking off the gangplank.
Wow.
And so they, then she started a millinery business. She made ladies' hats and gloves
Is
and
that right?
accessories. So he was barbering in one room, and she was making hats and accessories
quite
for
a
ladies.
team.
They made a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
They were in Bermuda. Their house is now a national treasure. It's on
Is that right?
Yeah. They named the street after him. They named it Barbara's Alley.
Really?
Yeah. And then the
And
his-
you visited? You've
I
been
am
there?
going to. I'm
Okay.
going to. The president of Bermuda has made us most welcome anytime we'd like to come down.
All right.
I know.
That's what's up.
And it was because of his customers,
Mm-hmm.
they were teaching him how to read even more. He had learned a little bit, but it was against the law for
Right.
a while. So he had learned a little bit to read, and then his customers would read to him from the papers that came by ship to Bermuda from the United States. So they kept saying, listen, it's looking like the North might win this war, so maybe the war will be over soon. And so he kept up with the news that way, and he also read the papers. And when the war was over, they decided to come back because they said that things in the United States were better now for black people.
Okay.
So they decided to come back.
And for that period, that Reconstruction period, was that about 15, 20 years?
Yeah, about that long.
It was okay, and then it got crazy again. And so,
But he had warned them because he was in the South. Don't forget South Carolina. He was in the South. So he was warning his colleagues in Congress, listen, we have to beware of the rise of the KKK. He spoke out so much against it in Congress that he had death threats.
wow.
And they had to give him protection because they were looking to kill him.
Well, Lorna, we're going to have to wrap this up, and this has been an amazingly quick and delightful show.
Did I talk through 10 minutes already? I didn't even get to show you all the pictures and all this other stuff.
So what we'll do is we'll have to invite you back.
Thank you,
okay?
thank
And
you,
as
thank
we
you.
get closer to the premiere, and I hope I'm invited
Oh,
to the red
definitely.
carpet event. And
Love
I
your
know it's
mom,
gonna
Miss
be,
Givan. I already told your sister, Miss Givan, she's got her front row seat
That's
right
dope.
there.
That's
She's got to be
amazing.
there.
Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. It was a
Absolutely.
pleasure. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Well, that wraps up this edition of Ignite, Empower, Transform. And remember, if it's in your heart, do your part. Today's help equals tomorrow's hope. I love our youth. Take care.
I see all your smiles and all the tears showing down on your faces. But I know all the while it's gonna be okay, yes it is. Just open up your eyes. Open up your eyes. The sun is soon to shine. The sun is soon to shine. Aim your arrow high and keep reaching for the sky. It's time we give back. Sow a seed and show someone where love's at. Even if you don't give enough, your eyes. Open up your eyes. The sun is soon to shine. The sun is soon to shine. Aim your arrow high and keep reaching for the sky. It's time we give back. Sow a seed and show someone where love's at. Even if you don't give enough, give your heart a share.
Just bury me in the ocean with my ancestors that jumped from the ships. Because they knew death was better than bondage.